Good day, everyone. My name is Wena Meryl Banjola, and today my task is to report about globalization, its history, theories, and ideologies. Before I go further with my discussion, let's first have our objective, which is at the end of this report, you are expected to understand the history, theories, and ideologies of globalization. To start with, let's understand what does globalization refers to. Globalization is often referred to as a contemporary or modern phenomenon that need to be analyzed historically. To elaborate further, globalization is described as the growing independent or speed up of movements of the world's culture, economics, and population. At this juncture, let's move on to its origin and history. According to Nayan Chanda 2007, it is because of our basic needs to make our lives better that made globalization possible. So, according to him, people have the urge or eagerness to make their lives better and be globally competitive, which made globalization exist. Next is, when did globalization begin? The first wave of globalization is as old as human civilization. For more than 5,000 years, human beings from different places or origins have already interacted with others, mostly through trade, migration, and conquest. The second wave of globalization is closely associated with Western European conquest of Asia, Latin America, and Africa. Moreover, in this wave of globalization, capitalism spread in these areas. The third wave began around 1870 and declined around 1914. In the third wave of globalization, it was marked as the breakthrough of technological developments such as the internet, smartphones, and digital media. Moreover, it is also the breakthrough of the global production of primary commodities as well as manufactured products and mass migration. The fourth wave of globalization began at 1945 to 1980. The fourth wave of globalization is the strengthening of internationalism and global cooperation led by the United States. Though the removal of trade barriers was selective, there are some institutions that was formed to encourage global trade and development. Those institutions are World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the General Agreement of Tariff and Trade. The fifth wave of globalization is the current period. In this period, there is mutual dependence between two nations. Also, in this time, there is an explosive growth of powerful actors. Let's proceed to the theories of globalization. Globalization is not a single concept. Globalization is a concept that has been defined variously with some connotations referring to progress, development, and stability, integration and cooperation, and others referring to regression, colonialism, and destabilization. Furthermore, Martin Corr, president of the Third World Network in Malaysia, referred to globalization as colonization. The first theory of globalization is the world system theory by Immanuel Wallerstein. In this theory, Immanuel Wallerstein argues that globalization represents the triumph of capitalist world economy tied together by a global division of labor. A world system is a multicultural territorial division of labor in which the production and exchange of basic goods and raw materials is necessary for the everyday life of its inhabitants. There are key structures of the capitalist world system. The first one is the core. It is composed of highly industrialized countries having the most advanced level of technology and dominate the world's banking and financial institutions. Second is the periphery. It is composed of economically depressed countries, mostly from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The third one is the semi-periphery, act as the go-in-between, are relatively less developed than the core states but more developed than the peripheral areas. The second theory of globalization is theories of capital globalization. 2.1 The Transnational Practices or TNP by Leslie Sclair. Transnational practices are practices that cross state boundaries but do not originate with state agencies or actors. In the theory of Sclair, it involves the idea of the TCC as a new class that brings together several social groups who see their own interest in an expanding global capitalist system. The executives of transnational corporations, globalizing bureaucrats, politicians, and professionals, and consumerist elites in the media and the commercial sector. There are three levels of TNPs or transnational practices. First is economic, whose agent is transnational capital. Second, political, whose agent is a transnational capitalist class or TCC. Third, cultural ideological, whose agent is cultural elites. The third theory of globalization is global capitalism by William Robinson. World economy. Each country developed a national economy that was linked to others through trade and finances in an integrated international market. Global economy. Globalization is the production process itself, which breaks down the functionality, integrates what were previously circuits into new global circuits of production and accumulation. Moreover, as a distinction to Sclair, Robinson theorized an emergent transnational state apparatus. This transnational state is a loose network comprised of supernatural political and economic institutions together with national state apparatuses that have been penetrated and transformed by transnational forces. The fourth theory of globalization is the network society by Manuel Castro. Network society is a society whose social structures is made of networks powered by microelectronic-based information and communication technologies. According to Manuel Castells, this new economy is informational or knowledge-based, global in that production is organized on a global scale, and network in the productivity is generated through global networks of interaction. This theory is existing today. Examples are the telecommunication networks, which are globe and smart, and others are still emerging. The internet constructs a new environment which makes virtuality a reality. Globalization is a network of production, culture, and power that is constantly shaped by advances in technology which range from communications technologies to genetic engineering. Globalization represents a new age of information. The development of a new information technology, in particular computers and the internet, representing a new technological paradigm and leading to a new mode of development that Castells terms as informationalism. There are distinct features of the new symbolic environment. First, space of flows, in which informational flows brings physical spaces closer through networks. For example, chatting, texting, and other social media applications that are emerging. Second, timeless time, in which technology is able to manipulate the natural sequence of events. For example, when you try to communicate with other people, it takes only a second to communicate, even in a distant place. Third, real virtuality, based on hypertext reality and global interconnection which bends space and time relations.